All right. I wanted to start breaking down some mentality and start to get into the ability. I want to talk about focus, knowledge, and discipline and what it means to me. If it's not motivation, if it's not meditation, if it's not inspiration, if it's not one of the three, I don't want it. So here I am sitting here today with you guys in this place, and I want to look at a couple of attributes and abilities. One of the things that I found quite interesting is that there's a lot of ways in which people create systems. Like, for instance, a car maker will create a system. You can also utilize systems inside of yourself, utilize attributes, utilize your ability, your mentality, so that you can start to overcome the challenges that you face off against. And one of those challenges that we face off against is finding a process, finding the ability to find a way and to simply break things down. And a lot of people talk about it in a way in which they'll say, take a bite at a time, you can't finish an elephant all at once. And if we take that analogy, if we take that study, then how can we use that in our lives? How can we start to allow ourselves to take our challenges and break them down one by one? And so when we start to recognize that focus is truly a process, that the energy inside of ourselves, it's real, that what you're facing off against is manifesting itself from within. When your ability starts to open up to the point where that starts to become what you're focusing on, can you identify the systems that are working in your life? Can you start to find a way to zero in on what focus, on what mentality, on what ability is required for you to achieve the goals that you set for yourself, the parameters and the abilities inside of yourself? And it sounds simple. A lot of times that's where we lose our bearings. That's where we lose our connection with light. That's where we lose our ability inside of ourselves to grow. And that is where focus, knowledge, and discipline comes in. See, if you find your way out of your path, then you have to recenter yourself. You have to find and start to ask yourself the question. And a lot of the times on the outside, people are going to say you can't do that. And it's when you have to look inwards for the answers. It's when you have to find yourself and find the part of yourself that's hidden behind the walls within your mind that you start to believe in yourself. And you see, the mentality to get there, it already exists inside of yourself. It's up to you to find the skills, the abilities, and the mentality to find your way through those kinds of challenges. You can utilize tools. You can utilize abilities within yourself, within your being, to boost that energy to flow. You can use parts of understanding who you are, understanding how your energy flows, for instance, to find that relation and to be able to connect those dots, to connect those pieces that you might not be able to see. When you start to put yourself in a place of focus, you'll start to notice that your energy will start to flow, your ability. It will start to give you the reason to go in the direction which is going to bring that part of yourself out. It's up to you to find the knowledge inside of yourself, the ability inside of yourself, and to recognize that that is part of who you are, that is the part that you have to seek out after. When you start to find yourself in a place where you're not seeking out after the things that are seeking out after you, then you have to ask yourself, is this the appropriate place for me to be? And a lot of times we have to subtract ourselves from the challenges to sit back and to observe, to sit back and to start to create a game plan, to start to create a ability, to start to create a mentality. And a lot of the times when we start that mentality, we don't know if it's possible for us to start to achieve it. We don't know if it's possible for us to start to gain that place of mentality. And this is what I'm here to tell you, that if you can find a way to connect your focus with your knowledge, that you will find the place of discipline to teach yourself how to overcome your challenges, to enable your mind, to enable your ability, to enable your mentality. And a lot of times that's the place where we find ourselves not believing in ourselves. And you got to put that belief in yourself, that self-dialogue, that self-mentality, that you have what it takes. There's going to be a lot of failures before you gain a success. There's going to be a lot of losses before you gain an ability. When you seek it out inside of yourself, when you seek it out inside of your mentality, the ability to overcome, the ability to grow, the knowledge inside to become sufficient starts to open up. That is where you have to believe in yourself, because there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to believe in you. This isn't about them. This is about your goals. This is about setting a bearing in front of yourself, a mentality in front of yourself, an ability. And when your mentality starts to open up, when your ability starts to become your best friend, hearing what I'm saying, become best friends with yourself. Look for the inside is the ability to overcome the challenges. And let that part of yourself work to gain that ability to speak your mind. Gain that ability to use your dreams, your manifestation. Gain that ability inside of yourself to believe in you. And it doesn't just come in one day. There's a lot of different things that can be used. Studying for one. For example, if you sit down and you start to look at things and you start to observe things and you start to find ways to turn the challenges that you're facing off against into the ability to overcome those challenges, they become like a mountain. And you can climb a mountain as long as you can see it. As long as you see it, you can achieve it. Andrew Carnegie. And so what are we talking about? We're talking about the manifestation of the energy inside of yourself, identifying, connecting with your mentality, connecting with the light inside of you, manifesting within this universe, manifesting within your being, manifesting within your ability to overcome your challenges, to start to believe in yourself, to start to believe that it can become possible. And it will only become possible if I do it. And how do you get to that point? By looking at what you can achieve, not the inabilities, the ability. Look at all the challenges that you face off against as an ability to overcome them. Look at all of the things that other people, one of the things that really bothers me, and I know it bothers quite a few other people, is when people say, have a positive mentality. No. You have to have a positive identification of the process of positivity. The connection of Newton's third law. For each action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. To identify the universe, to identify the ability inside of yourself to manifest your dreams, to allow your knowledge and self to become sufficient, to accept you as you. To accept yourself and to overcome your challenges, to become your relation, to become your connection, and to ultimately become your best friend. And so inside of oneself is that connection, inside of oneself is that evolution, that evolving in the internal is the place of discipline, the place of connection, where the two connect, and utilizing that manifest in reflection. See, a lot of times we forget about that. We forget about the ability inside of ourselves, the mentality, the life, the time that we've had on this planet, and the ability to work with our challenges by being yourself. Don't be selfish, be selfless. And in that selflessness, you will be nothing else other than yourself. And so you utilize self-understanding, self-relation, self-connection to bring yourself back to the first of all of the challenges that you faced off against. After all, learning a course starts on day one. Learning a relationship with yourself starts on day one. And might that blessing continue in your life. Blessings as always, and namaste.